Happy Tuesday, World History students. I hope you guys are doing well. We're almost at the end. I think you guys have, not counting the holiday and the weekends, 5 days left of school, so almost there. But before we get to the end, we still have to cover a few more things about Islam as well as the Middle Ages to prepare you for next year, especially for those that are going into either honors Euro or AP Euro for next year. So a couple of things about Islam. I loved reading your guys' questions from the Ed Puzzle that you watched on the Introductory to Islam. A couple of you asked some really good questions. So a couple of them were, do Muslims need to pray 5 times a day? Or is that for specific people? So the 5 pillars of Islam is kind of like the instructions of what you need to follow in the faith, like rules, guidelines. And one of those is praying. And so, yes, they are required to pray 5 times a day. But just like any faith, not some people are a little bit more strict with following the guidelines than others are, right? So, but typically, yes, a Muslim would pray 5 times a day towards Mecca, right, the holy city. So they would pray in that direction. Now, you would need to know, depending on where you are in the world, if you are a Muslim, where Mecca is. Is that to your east? Is that to the east, north, south of where you are? So you would need to figure that out. And one of the things that they discovered in order to decide at where Mecca was, if they're outside of it, was the compass. So this is actually an invention that people that followed Islam and of this region in the Middle East were honed in on perfecting and creating the compass. So we'll get a little more into some accomplishments, but we want to cover a little bit more of the major aspects of Islam. Another question was, what are the similarities between Christianity and Islam? So people of the Jewish faith, Christian, and Islam all have the same God. They all are monotheistic, believe in one God and the same God. Okay, so Allah in Arabic just means God. Okay, so they all have the same God. The major difference, apart from the holy scriptures and text, is the determination on the Son of God, right? So Jewish people don't believe that the Son of God has risen. They don't believe that Jesus is the Son of God. Christians obviously believe Jesus is the Son of God, and then Muslims, now they do believe that Jesus was a prophet and that he did existed, but they don't believe that he was the Son of God either. Okay, so that's kind of one of the biggest main differences. And then we'll get into Muhammad in a little bit and kind of where he comes into, which was discussed in the video, but we'll talk about it a little bit more. So, and this assignment today, it's not very long. The reading is pretty short. So you'll first, before you look at anything else, I want you to fill out this box here, 2 things that you already know about Islam. So it could be from the video that you watched or that you just already know from other content. So it says, now watch me. You're going to click on this. This is a hyperlink. Okay, it'll take you to a really short video. This is the video. It's 3.5 minutes. And then you'll type out 2 things that you learned from that specific video. Okay. Because countries that if their main religion is Islam, they don't have that separation of church and state like we do here in America. They have a state religion. So does that mean other people follow their religion? Sure, but the majority of the population would follow Islam. So because of that, the government would recognize all Islamic holidays, as well as they host the call to prayer. So you'll hear that in the beginning of the video when you watch it. There are basically loudspeakers throughout cities that are predominantly Muslim, and that would happen 5 times a day. Each time it was time to pray. So, for example, I've been to Istanbul in Turkey, which is a Muslim country, predominantly Muslim, and they have their call to prayer. It's very cool to hear. There are specific people, it's their job to do the call to prayer. And you can look up the different, what they're saying during the call to prayer, um, and kind of what that job entails. So you'll hear that in the beginning of the video when it first starts playing. So it's kind of loud. Just make sure that if you need to be in a quiet space or you can have loud volume, that you go to a quiet space or you just turn on the volume. Okay, so below you're going to read the little text here. So look on the side here and it shows information, and then your questions will be on the right here. So you'll simply just click and you'll type in the answer, and whatever that is. All the information for the questions right here will come from the text on the left. So for each page, you'll look on the left is, and then any images there are, okay, will come from each page. So when you scroll down, the same thing, you have a couple questions here that'll come from the information on the left. So this one talks about Muhammad here, as well as the Quran, the religious text for the Islamic faith. Okay, here is a symbol, excuse me, associated with Islam, and that would be predominant in Islamic countries. And then, so here again, you just have, how do Muslims view Jesus differently than Christians? Make sure you get it directly from the text here. Okay, so don't just simply look it up or go over what I said, but make sure I want it from the text. You have some images here of places of worship that Muslims would go to called mosques, as well as some leaders, as well as holidays and the 5 pillars of Islam. Okay, so again, these are like the rules that you would follow if you're Muslim. So those are the 5 pillars of Islam, and then we have our Muslim population. This graph is from 2014, but it shows you predominantly where most of the Muslims live around the world. Of course, Muslims exist in a lot of different countries, but this is a predominant area of the largest Muslim populations. And then once you get to the end, any questions that you still have remaining for me, I'll take a look at and make sure that I can address them in tomorrow's assignment for covering Islam. And then we'll also talk about the Crusades and the Christians versus the Muslims. So if you have any questions, please shoot me an email. Hopefully this was helpful. This is your assignment today. It should be fairly quick, just reading the information and then answering the questions on the side. I hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.